Hey everyone, it's Mari, and today I'm participating in Audrey Yeager's Summertime Scrapbooking Series. And my layout today on my process is for day 10. And I'm going to be creating a layout using these three photographs that you can see here. Two, the one on the far left and far right are sized the same. And then there's one smaller photograph in the center, and I'll talk about that a little bit as I go along here. I'm going to be using the Out and About collection from PinkFresh Studio, which is probably one of my favorite collections that came out this spring, and it's just a lot of fun. I love the colors, and it's a travel theme, which is fun. And these are travel photos, so perfect for my layout today. Now I'm just starting off with some Liquitex gesso on a piece of patterned paper here. One of the things I really love about the PinkFresh pattern papers is that they're a little bit thicker. They have a little more substance to them. And it makes it a little bit easier to do mixed media on a paper like that, just because it's a little bit heavier. And then just applying this gesso on here also gives the paper some protection from any mixed media that I might like to add to the layout. And I wasn't really sure what I was going to use when I started. I'm just going to play around here. I'm going to try to soften the edges of that a little bit with my finger so that it just kind of blends off into the paper where there isn't any gesso. And I am going to just go for it here with some mixed media products. Now I'm going to start off with the PinkFresh translucent liquid watercolors. And this is a really neat product. It's a very pigmented, highly pigmented liquid watercolor, and you have to be a little bit careful because it's a really strong pigment. So it's kind of nice to water these down a little bit. And that's exactly what you'll see me doing here. I feel like the color that ends up in the middle is a little bit intense. I might have maybe put a little bit of gesso over top of it, but I didn't. But you can decide, see what you think when I finish up here. So the colors that I'm going to be using here in these liquid watercolors are the yellow and the green, the blue, and I'm going to tone the red down a little bit with some white acrylic paint just to make it a little bit more pink than red, and go from there. So I love the color scheme of this collection. I think it's so much fun. I think it's great for either a feminine or masculine layout, and it's just kind of, I don't know, it's a wonderful color scheme. I really like it. So you can see here I'm just adding water, just taking my watercolor brush here and just kind of moving the paint around where I want it, and adding a little bit of water with my spritzer here and there just to get the paint moving on the paper a little bit, moving the paper physically with my hands to get the paint moving, and so on and so forth. Now I'm going to take some Vicki Boutin crayon, and I'm actually just going to use the lighter blue. I'm going to use a Vicki Boutin stencil here. I love this stencil. It's super cool. It's a series of circles, and I'm going to use Vicki's stencil brush, and I'm going to just add some of that art crayon on there. I really like how this looks. I think it's really neat, and it adds another layer on top of that paint. If you've ever done any art journaling before, these techniques are very much, for me, something that was born from art journaling, something that I really love to do. And when you're art journaling, what you're doing is layering your different mediums, and that's exactly what I'm doing here. So I've got that art crayon on there. Now I'm taking, I think this is a Darkroom Door stencil maybe. I love this because it's a text, and it's kind of a travel themed text. Not that that matters, it wouldn't have to be, but it is. So it kind of goes along with what I'm doing here. This is a molding paste that I am just forgetting right now what the name of it is, but I really like it. If I remember, I will link it down below. It just dries really fast. I really like the texture of it, and it's really easy to use. So I will try to remember to link up to that down below. So now I'm just sizing that gray paper down that my main part of my layout's on. And I'm going to use this really gorgeous kind of rainbow colored stripe paper from the collection as a frame around the outside edges of my layout. I am also going to back my cut file, which is from Just Nick Studio, with that rainbow colored paper. I just glued my cut file that says Explore onto a strip of that paper, and I'm just going to cut around it, and that is going to be my large title for the layout. Now I thought originally I wanted just to have that straight paper on the sides, but I didn't really love how that looked, and so now I'm going to just take a little bit of extra paper off the top, and I'm going to use that rainbow paper as a frame all the way around. And as I'm working on it here, I realized that my paper is a little bit warped, and I'm going to adhere it onto a piece of white cardstock just to give it a little more stability and get it to flatten out a little bit. And so you'll just see me adding this on with my ATG gun. I'm going to get quite a bit of adhesive on there and just kind of like slowly push it on so that it just really takes the warping out of that paper. This is a really good technique if you don't like warped paper, and I'm not a fan of warped paper. It's a really good way to get those warps out of there. Now I also took my sewing machine and I stitched all the way around the outside edge of that gray paper, which also really makes it lay flat on that white cardstock that's backing it. Now I'm taking some foam adhesive, and I'm going to adhere that onto the back of my cut file title, and that's going to make that title really nice and dimensional, pop up off the layout nicely, and I like how that's going to look. So I'm going to get that adhered down. I'll use my ruler just to make sure that it's straight. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to, I've matted each one of my 3 photographs with some 6x6 paper from the 6x6 paper pad from Out and About. And I've adhered some craft foam to the backs of each one of those photos. And now I'm just gluing that down to my background here, to my paper, to my page, because, and I'm going to have to do that with liquid adhesive because there's so much mixed media on here. It will adhere much more nicely if I do that. I wanted that little middle photograph there to line up on the bottom with the photo on the left and on the top of the photo on the right, just to give it kind of like that interesting positioning. And my subtitle here is going to be this plus, and then an arrow, which points towards the margarita in the center. And then below the far right photo, it's going to say equals this. So this plus this equals this. And the idea is that we started off without a drink, but we added a margarita, and it was really nice. So at the top, I'm going to add that die cut Rome, which is from the die cut pack from Out and About. And so it's going to say Roam and Explore, and then this plus the arrow to the margarita equals this. And you're going to just see me now adding some embellishments, and this is mostly going to be die cuts and some of the a bunch of the different stickers from the different sticker packs, the dimensional stickers, and some of the, I think I'm also going to maybe add one of the epoxy stickers, and so on. So just to give a little bit of more interest to the layout, adding some of the different little bits and pieces from the collection. These 3 photos were taken on a recent vacation that I took to, well, firstly visit my son, but we drove on the weekend that I was there. I was there for a week. The weekend that I was there for the week, we drove to my sister's in Ottawa, which is about a 2-hour drive from where he lives in Kingston, and we drove up to see her. We drove to downtown Ottawa to the Terrace on the Falls, which is a really nice little outdoor pub. And it was just really nice because it was super hot that day, and it was just really good to cool off on the terrace and sit under the umbrella and just really enjoy the day or the afternoon. It was lovely, and it was a lovely beverage that we enjoyed, and this is just documenting that. So there you can see the different little bits and pieces that I'm going to add there. I'm going to add a couple of little arrows here. I'm going to add in some puffy stickers. I'm also going to add a few little black dots, and just to bring in a little bit more black, because I've got that black arrow there, and I do have those black alphas that spell out the word "and" at the top. And so I just wanted to bring in a little bit more black, and I will do that. Now for the journaling, I didn't want to put the journaling right on the page just because I felt like I didn't want to cover up any more of the mixed media or the molding paste detail that I had added on there, which definitely would have been covered if I had added the journaling right onto the page. So what I did was I die cut a tag using a tag die from My Favorite Things, and I created a little tag pocket to the back of the layout. I am going to show you that in this next section, and the journaling is going to be on that tag there at the very top. So you can see there's the tag with the journaling on it. I just created that little tag myself. Like I mentioned, I put a little bit of baker's twine in the top, and there you can see I added a little pocket on the back. Thank you so much, guys, for joining me today. Please make sure that you find the link to Audrey's video, her companion video to my video here today, or mine is the companion to hers, I should say. And I hope that you enjoyed this, and I hope you were inspired to do some vacationing, travel, documenting. Have an amazing day, guys, and I'll see you another time. I do have some still shots here of the layout coming up. Bye-bye.